It was a hot day, the sun was hurting my eyes. I was bracing myself for a Saturday night. Focused, hot and ready to take it on. There came a ringing on the telephone. She said, I'm thirsty and I've nothing to drink. Could you come over here and make a stop on the way? You think I drank all of mine, but I still feel like some more. If you're bringing my juice, well, boy, you might score. And all seemed okay. It's not like I'm making it every day, but I got an issue with you drinking me dry, so I'm gonna have to scratch you, honey. Bye, bye, bye. From the east side, from the east side. Bye, bye, bye. From the east side, from the east side. Bye, bye, bye. From the east side, from the east side. Bye, bye, bye. Story does go. The candy girl sticks it way up in her nose. Where she goes, folks are watching her go. Stick it in the dirt, way up in her nose. Take it back, hit the slap, she's hitting on the floor. She's got no emotion, but she knows the need for more. Always getting smashed, but she never knows high. Cigarette dresses in, out she go. Bye, bye, bye. From the east side, from the east side. Bye, bye, bye. From the east side, from the east side. Bye, bye, bye. From the east side, from the east side. Bye, bye, bye. Goodbye. This state of play's massive. I'm sick of being passive. There's a lot of shit around, but that's making me aggressive. I'm too man of drugs, kitty chug-a-lugs, the same old pubs with the very same mugs, the same dirty huts with the same dirty bugs. Getting down, upside down, friendly on the rug. The same old dirty sluts with the dank old pubs like jugs. I'd rather get down with you, bendy on the rug. I don't really care if you're supermodel fine. If you shoot me with your shit, I'll give you less of my time. If you show my head with hassle or you're drinking too much wine. If you shit me creepy Charlie's running up and down my spine. When you're up in my face, spitting laced lies, I wanna fly away and crawl and curl up tight and die. No girl should make me think of words like I and I. Sorry baby, this is gravy, no more maybe. Bye, bye, bye. From the east side, from the east side. Bye, bye, bye. From the east side, from the east side. Bye, bye, bye. From the east side, from the east side. Bye, bye, bye. Side, east side. Your mum's from the east side. I saw your mum over on the east side. She was selling fun to the kids. I saw your mum over on the east side doing favours for all the pigs. We're all from the east side. I saw your mum on the east side.
Well, crikey.
Oh, he's here. Oh, he's here. He's on the green screen. Oh, my God.
Brief applause today. Yeah, that was very, very trippy. I'm not 100% sure if I'm coming through properly. Clearly, my vintage hardware doesn't like the use of the green screen. Nor did that X-Wing pilot. But do I have your assurance that I'm actually coming through properly?
I mean, your audio's good.
You know, that's generally all that matters. I understand that I'm going to be a bit jerky and stuff, so I'll try and keep all movement to an absolute minimum.
You know what would be funny is if you just put a picture of yourself up on with a green screen behind it, and then just be like, "Yeah, that's my look. What's going on?"
Been there before, done that. No, have I? Probably haven't. I'm just lying, I think. Crikey, fair bit of chat in there. Shanna-na-na-na-na-na. 503, first cab off the rank today. Well done, Shanna. As per the norm, big bucket of kudos out in the post to you, love. Well done.
Just thrown right out there.
I've got so much kudos. Where was I up to? Paddy Shaddy, how's it going? Is that scratches from the shrubbery, or am I scratching my eyes out again? I don't know what that means. I know the shrubbery from Monty Python's Holy Grail.
Mm-hmm.
That's about the only shrubbery.
We request a shrubbery. A shrubbery.
And then you must cut down the mightiest tree in the forest with a herring.
I forgot about that part. I was too busy thinking about the "We are the knights." We are the knights. Then they start bopping around.
And then they changed, and they were no longer the knights who say "knee." They were the knights who say Eki Fatang Brahma or something.
Yeah,
I can't remember that.
I forget. Yeah.
But anyway, Big D, g'day, mate. How's it going? Mismatched Socks, how are you, Jess? Fish Dreams, hello, welcome back. 3G, how's it going? Still strange that 3G hasn't updated to 5G when so much 5G getting around the place.
Yeah, I mean, you would consider at least updating to 4G. I mean, right?
Stepping stones, baby steps, I guess.
Baby steps as far as G's are concerned, right?
Yeah. You can't go too quick. GRB, how's it going, mate? Oh, crikey. May have been erroneous, but I had an extra coffee this morning because I was up so early. And I don't normally do that. Probably shouldn't have done the extra caffeine on a show day. And then now I've got a bloody glass of sugary cola with some stuff in it as well. I don't believe I thought this through very thoroughly.
You're going to be all wound up and got to pee.
Right? I'll probably just get the shakes and jittery and potentially have a cardiac arrest on screen. But
we get the cold
whatever
sweat.
Gets the views.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's just whatever it takes to get the views, right? That's the whole thing, right? Like you just do whatever to get views.
Well, as long as you're within the restrictions of the algorithm and stuff. Like, there's certain ways you can go about it and get kicked off YouTube, sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are ways to get kicked off of YouTube. It's pretty difficult, though.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd give me a warning a couple of times first.
They do,
maybe.
Actually.
Yeah, they don't want their quality creators disappearing from the platform, is it?
That's right. Although they did. Sounds like they dropped a bunch of different forms of advertising the other day. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it was like alcohol ads, the political ads, something else. I don't know. There's a bunch of categories.
Hopefully, gambling.
Yeah, I think gambling was in there. I'm not 100% what it was, but they dropped a bunch of stuff that was sort of like, oh no, prescription pharmaceuticals. I don't know what they're gonna do moving forward. If they're gonna drop all of those, I don't know. I guess now it's just gonna be Ford trucks and
biscuits.
Carl's Jr., I guess, or something. Some big ass fries.
Yeah, so I went for a wander in the bush behind my house, and I found this crashed X-wing out the back.
Nice.
So I thought I'd set my
Brought to you
whole
by
rig up.
Carl's Jr.
I thought I'd set my whole rig up out in the bush instead, with the lovely dappled light coming through. It's amazing how still the bush is out here, though. I mean, there's a gentle breeze blowing, but not even those wisps of mist are moving. So still.
The stillness.
Yeah, Paddy. Yeah, very productive day. I had a wash.
Was that the entirety of your day so far?
No, because I had to. I don't know. Last week, I think I got the cranks with myself because I woke up nice and early, but then I rolled over and had a little bit of a doze, and I think it was like 10:30 in the morning by the time I woke up. So when I get up late on a Wednesday, then it's like, quick, get this done, get that done, and then it's all just stress and panic stuff. So I think I was up at 7 this morning and got everything done, and I was all set up and ready to go 2 hours out from start time, which was good.
Yeah.
And that included having to, rig up this big curtain behind me.
The green screen deluxe. He's going big time on us, guys.
Well, big time. Speaking of big time, like, I know it had measurements when I bought it, but it's freaking huge.
Oh yeah, yeah. They said,
it's like 4 by 5 meters or something.
Yeah, they send out quite the big. It's because like you could send out an average sized cloth. You know what I mean? Like maybe the a little like maybe a comforter size, right? Like a blanket for your bed size. But then you would have to charge either so little that it's not worth it, or you would charge what people would perceive as too much money, right?
Yeah.
So then what you do is you increase the amount, the volume that you're going to send out, and then you can increase the price by the same number that you had for the smaller piece. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then you go like, well, it's $14 for 900 feet of green screen. People are like, well, that's a good deal, and I need some green screen. So, hey. And then you end up buying it. And then they, they spend the money on that direct advertising dollar, money, metrics, and blah, blah, blah. And the robots all analyze our purchasing stuff, behaviors and, all that stuff. And then they put it on a spreadsheet. Then they put a cover sheet on it. Then they memo it off to some guy. And then boom, next thing you know, 14 meters of green screen has arrived at your house. And you think that that's normal.
Yeah,
In reality, it's completely abnormal.
I could easily cut it in half and still have enough to double it over to have an extra thick green screen. And yeah, I'm not sure if I got to saying g'day to Mike Kinseth. Hello, Mike. Welcome back. Where else was I up to?
Mike Toes is here also.
Who?
Michael Toes. Toes. Mike Toes.
Ah.
So you're Mike. We got Mike. And then we got Mike. I think we have like 10 people watching, and 50% of them are Mikes.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because I didn't have these people in my chat, and then all of a sudden my chat's just updated, and I've got all of these extra messages to get through.
Did you have the top chat feature hit? I hate that.
No, because it was behaving so sketchily. I've only got this StreamYard window open just in case, because even when I was I had Bentley up watching Bentley stream before, and he was all jerky and still, so I was very concerned about usage. What do you call it? Memory usage
data.
and shit. So
yeah, someday you guys will get reasonable internet out there in Australia.
I don't think it's the internet. My internet is generally really good. I think it's just that my 12-year-old laptop might be slowly succumbing to the needs of today's computing.
Oh,
G'day,
hey,
Pipex.
did you see that they're did you see they're developing a new supersonic jet? Have you seen this?
No, I haven't. Oh, there. I've just got to Michael Toes as well. Welcome, Michael. Good to see you again, mate.
What the hell was that supersonic jet in the past? What was it called? The Condor or something?
Concorde.
It's all Condor.
Well, the Concords were SSTs, weren't they?
Right.
They're
coming out with a new. They're coming out with a new supersonic jet. It says from here to Australia would be an 8-hour flight.
Nice. Using what sort of fuel?
I have no idea what the fuel is, but I don't know. I mean,
it's gonna be burning.
I don't have the schematics for the jet or anything. I saw it on the news. They were like, "Hey, get ready," because the new version of the Concorde is going to be coming out here pretty soon.
Yeah,
right. Doing supersonic flights. So they fly out over the ocean and then they just hit the afterburners, bruh, and then sonic booms, and then they outrun the sound, 8 hours. 8 hours to Australia. That's doable,
That's pretty wild. But yeah, they I guess I
don't know if we can bring Olivia to Australia. It's full of crocodiles and snakes and poisonous humans.
The humans are probably the biggest threat. All of our spiders are okay.
You have those crazy jumpy spiders that jump on birds, right? The huntsman,
right? Kind of. Well, they call them Goliath bird-eating spiders, but they spend a lot of their time on the ground and eating other things. G'day, Zip Gun. How's it going? Snowflake tears make the best jet fuel. Nice. I like it.
Snowflake tears. I know. All the snowflake conservatives losing their minds. It's pretty funny.
What was that? Some dude, he's just put a song out called Snowflakes. Tom someone.
Oh, that guy's an idiot. What a moron.
That's a pretty good song, mate.
No, it's not.
I mean, the song's not good, but some of his lines in it are pretty crafty. Yeah, lucky.
I don't know.
Lucky we don't have alligators down here. Oh yeah, you got to remember the barking spiders 3G.
Oh, you have crocodiles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather tickle an alligator under the chin than go near a crocodile.
I mean, they're all pretty angry. That's all I'm saying. Like they're all bitey. They're all biting with their face. That's their thing.
Yeah. They're not.
You got the caiman, you got the crocodiles, and you got the alligators, and they're all bitey McBite face.
Actually, I read a thing the other day where they found some fossils of an ancient species of crocodile, which was endemic to this land before our current species of crocodiles were here, which they believe are just an offshoot from the Nile crocodile, I believe.
Right.
But
and they're just like much larger, right? Correct?
Yeah, a bit bigger and stuff like that. Also,
a lot of that.
Sorry, keep going.
A lot of that has to do with so like all that Jurassic stuff, that the reason it's so large is that our atmosphere had like an insane amount of oxygen back then. I think that's like the main contributing factor, is that things were able to grow super big because of the atmosphere. Like just the way that the atmosphere is now, things just grow smaller. That's basically it. It's like, so that's the thing where you're kind of like, well, I guess if the atmosphere was different and everything just grew bigger, but a lot of it was kind of the same crap. It's like I could understand there was giant crocodile because those idiots have been around forever. Because they're just Bitey McBiteface, which may or may not be an indicator for the true success of a species, to just bite first, just teeth first, right? Just teeth first at things. Seems to be successful on this planet, right?
Well, works for snakes as well.
Yeah. Snaky McSnakeface.
Joel G, the air was 4% steroids.
Yeah.
Yeah, they also found more bones from Australia's largest ever dinosaur. Apparently, it's one of the titanosaurs, like your Brontosaurus and Brachiosaurus and Diplodocus or Diplodocus, however you want to say that one.
Some of the impossible ones to pronunciate. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll still have a go, even if we look stupid. G'day, Fishy Mon. And yeah, back to the barking spiders reference as well. I'm not sure if 3G's Australian, he probably knows what barking spiders is a euphemism for.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like, dads are well known for keeping company with barking spiders. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just around. Dads.
It's an American thing as well, not just an Australian thing, the barking spiders. Right.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can 3G's gone and spoiled it. I was gonna say I'll see if I can find a barking spider for some part of the episode today.
Well, hey, we don't want to steal from Segura and Christina P.
Yeah, well, I was kind of disappointed that they
got the spider mic.
One.
I don't know. They never really used it. I think probably because it's just like the next level of ridiculous.
Yeah, they sort of. I mean, I did see a few times where Christina put it down there, and when she successfully made one, she was certainly very gleeful in her facial expressions that it actually got use. But
true.
Yeah, I think once they got a couple of contradictory for the way that your mum's house normally works. Once they got a couple of laughs out of the fart mic, they left it alone.
Right, which is weird. It's not normal.
Weird for their saying, yeah. They do
They're
tend to.
I do have to admit, for people that are so heavy into the callbacks, they definitely don't. They don't do them as like seamless as I would expect. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I feel like some people do callbacks and it is like
smooth as silk.
Yeah. Where it's just they just legit just drop it in there and you don't even realize it until probably like a couple seconds after, and then you start laughing, kind of deal. But I feel like they would be more seamless with it like that after so long. But
yeah. And that they'd have those moments where it's just an instant obvious click in their brain that they'd go, oh, here's exactly where this line goes with no delay at all. But yeah, you're right. They don't they've probably missed a lot of opportunities, or they just get sick of doing it.
What the hell is going on here? Why is this not working? I don't know. I was trying to show you something, but my stupid phone's not working. So we'll just throw it over there on the table and forget about it.
I think, BJ, as when I was growing up, I always pronounced it Diplodocus, and then I heard someone else pronounce it Diplodocus, and I really liked that pronunciation. So I think I'd probably still meander between both instead of using one or the other.
Dinosaur. Yeah.
Massive, isn't it?
Dinosaur.
Oh. Sarah's just arrived and it's her birthday today.
Is it really?
Mm. She's
man,
27 or something.
I thought she was 29, but you know.
It's it's not my responsibility to keep up with other people's years.
What do I know? I don't even know how to count anyhow. So I just learned the words for numbers, and then I just say them sometimes, to make it seem like I know what's going on.
Well, if a unlimited amount of corvuses were standing in a hall and saying numbered words, at some stage in the infinitesimal periods of time, they would get them in the right order.
Maybe it's possible.
Potentially.
Hey, so one of the topics I was saying, like, hey, we should talk about. We should probably get it out of the way. I'm not sure how your like speech laws work or whatever in Australia. So I don't know what we could say or couldn't say and maybe get in trouble for. But like the Friendly Jordies, like, isn't it he's going through some drama right now about like they're claiming that he was stalking one of the PMs or something. Whatever.
Well, the Deputy Premier of New South Wales, which is it's the like your state version of the Prime Minister, but he's the deputy one, not
right. We don't have PMs in the States at all.
I've got one down here if you want it. And yeah, it wasn't so much Jordan himself doing the stalking. It was his one of his assistants and employees that got in a bit of trouble about it.
Right.
But having watched the video about his arrest and the police statement and all that kind of stuff, it was pretty ridiculous. Did you watch the last video about the police statement and stuff?
Well, I haven't watched his video on it yet, but it is a channel that I do fairly regularly check up on. It's one of those channels that like once a week I'll just kind of hit the playlist of videos and just let them play and listen to them. Like I rarely do I watch them. So I know that there's been, just from his previous videos, there's been a lot of sort of, I guess, antagonistic / critical videos of, specific characters, him being one of them. And, like I said, like, I'm not sure what the Australia laws are, but that arrest footage is kind of like questionable at best.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's one of those things, like, if you have to go in and like storm in somewhere and arrest like dangerous criminals, I understand like sometimes force is certainly necessary in specific instances, but the producer of a YouTube of a political commentary comedy YouTube channel, I don't know if you really need the I think it's almost a knock on the door and be like, hey, is Jeffrey here? Like he needs to come outside. There's a warrant,
Yeah. And the fact that it was the anti-terrorism unit as well.
Right. Right. And you also, you call out the psychos out of the pen, like what the, it's like calling in the SWAT team on
just a kid.
I can't even think of any American person or whatever, but like, whatever the American equivalent is, it's like calling in the CIA task force, Strike Force 5 or whatever, Delta team to come in and
just
arrest somebody who has like zero record of any kind of, the previous violence or anything like that. There
you go. GRB's made a good comparison that our premiers are like the governors of your states.
Right. There you go. Actually, that's
give me a second. Keep talking. I'm going to go and give me woman a hug for her birthday.
That makes sense. Well, I'm going to sing happy birthday. Happy birthday. It's your birthday. You're 29 years older than before. Oh, wait, what? Yeah, so that whole interaction going on, I would kind of implore people around the world to kind of look into like what's happening with that. I was kind of surprised to see on some of the news shows, that Friendly Jordy's made it on the American news shows. I was kind of surprised to see that. And I think that Friendly Jordy's is somebody that's pretty accessible to anybody out there, in the fact that he actually is, very. He's a very good comedian. He brings a lot of comedy to his videos, even though most of them are politically charged. You, at the very least, could get a laugh out of him and stuff like that. And I think that he does a great job of bridging kind of the gap between the young and the old. Honestly, I think he does a pretty good job of that, of bridging the, hey, here's some of the stuff that is going on within Australian politics, specifically because he's Australian. So, and like I said, it's a channel that I follow because I think it's good for me to, it's a good look into some of the stuff that's going on in Australia that I would never make the news here. It just doesn't, it doesn't do that. So I personally rely on certain things like Friendly Jordy's channel to at least keep up on some of the things that are going on, because they're deeply immersed in the local politics and covering it pretty much on a daily basis, that kind of stuff. So, and as says, there's levels to this whole governments thing. That's right. Like there's a lot going on, and I would definitely implore more people to get involved in some facet, regardless of how old or how young you are. Let me see. Let me read the chat here. It was just bullying. Australia shouldn't stand for it's shameful. Joel G. Yeah, I think that's a good take on it. I mean, it's weird that people are using their political position to bully
people who are trying to tell the truth,
who are at least trying to I guess I don't even know what the terminology would be, but this is kind of trite, but speak truth to power, I guess, and try to get the message to young people, because I don't know how else young people are going to get involved to really knowing what's going on. I know that I've always been like hyper political. I had a giant mohawk and was always like reading the laws that they were passing and stuff, so I would know what was going on. But I know that like that's not very common. It's not very common for people to really
that's right.
know what's happening.
He certainly provides a platform, I guess, for the youth to learn about that sort of stuff, because he presents it in a way that the youth wants to see. And, even though he can appear very silly at times, he is definitely a highly intelligent young man, and knows what he's about, which is quality. But yeah, that John, I probably shouldn't even say John Garillaro's name. But yeah, he's obviously in the wrong and has done some shitty things to get this situation to where it is.
Right.
And I do believe that his suit is going to be thrown out of court.
Right.
And
well, and that's the thing. It's like it's one thing to threaten a lawsuit or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I understand that's over the line often. But I mean, just straight up, like you're utilizing essentially the military. It's just the state military. It's just the local military to inflict, physical violence on people. Essentially, like whether you're for or against the arrest. I mean, you do have to recognize like there's physical violence involved in it. Thusly being escalated not by the perp. It's not. by the perpetrator, and that's a big problem. It's a big problem whenever I see that, if you see that anywhere, whether doesn't matter what continent it's on, like that's just ridiculous,
Yeah, well, I don't know. You did say that you hadn't seen the one about the most recent one, but I think there was stuff in there where he showed the police statement that his employee was given upon release on bail, mind, and then pointed out how many lies existed in that police statement. So I'm fairly certain a police statement has to be written by a police officer.
Right.
And he pointed out with video evidence how many lies were in that police statement.
Yeah.
So, yeah, based on that alone, I think the suit could get thrown out, and more appropriate people will be investigated based on that nonsense.
Right. Yeah, and I really wonder, like, it's a wonder to me because, I'm not really sure. Obviously, I don't understand the full structure or the basic like operations of the Australian government. Like, I don't know what recourse there is or how things work in the U.S. or in Australia, just because I'm just not familiar with the ground level kind of stuff. But I'm not sure what the government recourse will be. If this gets investigated and you start to find out like serious corruption, like just exactly what the charges look like or whatnot. But, at the very least, hopefully, hopefully it sheds some light and people higher up the chain can do something about it. You know what I mean? Like, as opposed to just, well, I guess this is our guy, so we'll try to sweep this under the rug or whatever somehow. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I hope hope for the best.
I firmly believe the man's a grub, and not in the good way. And he's certainly had history of dodgy stuff going on in his political career already. So,
right,
if Jordan's putting his neck out to, and we get a bad guy out of our parliamentary system, then good, he's done well. Just unfortunate that his employee and employee's family had to go through that shit with the police.
Right.
Especially his mum getting knocked down and then having to argue with the bloody special operations guy about what actually happened.
Yeah, it was fairly interesting how you can see police officers just immediately go straight to the lie. It's like, this is recorded. It's on video. Like, what are you talking about? Like, no, that's not what happened. It's like, hey man, like, you're being recorded. I don't know. And that's one of those things, like, why, one of the things that I lobby for is not defund the police. It's fund the police, train the police, hire more people that can handle the other stuff that the police shouldn't be doing. Like, that's my thing. Everyone should have. If you're a police officer, if you're ICE, if you're whatever, you should have. We have the technology now. People should be filmed. You should have a body cam on you at all times when you're operating for your protection as being a good police officer, and vice versa. Good cops should want body cameras because it exonerates them. It is a direct representation of here's what actually happened. Like, I was doing what I'm supposed to do. This was a dodgy situation. I followed the steps, and then I handled what I had to do. And you're like, okay, boom, boom, boom. There you go.
That
open and shut. And if there's some kind of hinky nonsense going on, it's easy to start to figure that out when you have, footage of it. Here's the cam footage of what's going on. And you see somebody like that who's just immediately straight to the lie, like immediately, like, and expounding on the lie and like repeating it over and over again and hoping that it sticks somehow in that situation. It's like, it's been filmed. Like, what are you doing? And it's like,
Yeah.
how often
Camera
have you done
rarely
this in your
lies.
career previous to this?
Mm.
It brings up that
Yeah.
question to me, but it's a hard topic, and I don't want to speak specifically to anything that's going on in your country. That I don't want to put you in a weird spot, but in the States, it has happened many, many times, and the good cops always look good, with the body cam footage, and the bad cops always look bad with the body cam footage. So it's like, let's figure this out. But I want more. As far as like that kind of stuff goes, like I want more programs, with like mental health care professionals can go out. Like we should be paying our paramedics and train our EMTs to become paramedics, that kind of stuff, but I talk to people about that and they're like, where are we going to get the money? And I'm like, who cares? Let's just do it. Like,
yeah,
like what?
Just dig a tiny little fraction out of the military budget and put it to the local police budgets. But one thing I did notice about that arsehole cop as well was that the tie he was wearing was a square bottom tie. And that's the second square bottom tie I've seen in a week. Are they back in fashion or something?
I hope not. Those things are garbage. It's like the piano key necktie.
One was pretty close to that I saw the other day.
Ugh, that's awful. We don't need that. Don't bring that back. If you are watching this live stream, do not bring back the square bottom tie. We don't need that in our lives. Yeah, we don't need that kind of headache.
Bring back the bolo instead.
Yeah, there you go. Well, there's a lot of folks in the South, the American South. They're still rocking the bolo. Those are on the shelves. You could go to the store right now and pick those up. Although there are some local stores here where I shop that actually have bolos, believe it or not. But I don't think I could pull that off. I don't own a cow or a horse.
That's your prerequisite. At least one cow and one horse.
I feel like for myself, it's not a requirement I have for others, but I feel like for myself, if I'm going that deep into the fashion realm, I should back it up with like, well, my steer's name is Dr. Shivago, and so I'm a real cow man.
Well,
Alyssa, like cowboy, and I'll be like cow man.
Alyssa Bentley, a normal necktie, pardon me, finishes in a point like this. A square bottom one is flat at the bottom instead of pointy.
Yeah, just look up 1980s tie fashion. And you'll see it all over the place.
And what was the other one? Those little narrow ties. They got a bad rap in the 80s too, didn't they? Or the end of the 80s. They were all
I gotta talk to you about something. Have you watched the new Loki?
I have.
Oh my god. Hey, spoiler alert, you everybody in chat. If you haven't seen the new Loki and you're worried about spoilers, this is your warning. Go put on a square bottom tie and turn off YouTube and get out of here. If you're going to freak out, we might accidentally tell you that Owen Wilson is in it.
And he's
okay. I have to tell you, after all that hard talk about cops and square ties, this Loki TV show is fucking marvelous. Okay. Like I don't think that you could make a show with more elements that I like.
I was very, very.
You know what? Surprised. Okay, there wasn't any boobies in it. Okay, so let's get that off. Let's get that off the table, guys. This isn't that kind of show. All right,
didn't need it.
There's no boobies in it. Didn't need it. Okay, I'm telling you, the cinematography is phenomenal. The sound design is insanely good. The art within the show, like all the like retro style video, the fact that, oh my God, Owen Wilson's acting. Owen Wilson is like one of my favorite actors. I got to tell you, he always plays Owen Wilson, and I love Owen Wilson. Every time he's in a movie, he plays Owen Wilson, and I love Owen Wilson.
Yeah, I thought he was fantastic in it. It's one of the first films since Lightning McQueen where he was his Owen Wilson acting suited the role perfectly.
Right. Right. I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. It's got superheroes. It's got multiverse. It's got divergent timeline. I'm like, come on, man. I don't think you could really make a show that has the elements that in it that I want. I mean, there's mystery. There's multiple of the same person. We'll just, there's all of the stuff. There's all of the stuff. There's all of the stuff that I like.
But
I don't know. I don't know about Tom Hiddleston. I don't know. I mean, he's a great actor and whatever. Like, I don't have a man crush on him or anything. I have a man crush on Owen Wilson playing Owen Wilson. Like, he just doesn't need to act any other way.
It was absolutely, because I like most shows like that. I didn't watch any trailers or previews before because I didn't want to get any expectations. But it was totally, absolutely nothing like what I expected the show to be, which is really roped me in already. One episode in.
One episode was enough to go like, hey, is it Wednesday yet? On Sunday.
Do you not find Owen Wilson like really annoying to look at?
Well, I don't know if you can hear Sarah or not, but she asked if we don't find, or if we do find Owen Wilson really awkward to look at. Annoying to look at.
Yes.
I'm surprised his
Yes, I love it. I'm
surprised his Hollywood career.
He's so weird looking and he's all goofy and there's just something weird. It's like the timing of how he talks is bizarre. Like I love it, man. I love the hell out of it. It's so great.
Someone just came and like did some wrong things to him.
Well, I'm surprised that his career in Hollywood has not been affected by the shape of his nose one little bit.
No,
and that's a wonky piece of nostrils framing.
Yeah, like him in Zoolander. Have you his character in Zoolander? He's the hottest model right now. You get it, like self-deprecating humor and the fact that like he's a goofy looking dude, and they cast him as the greatest male model in, right? Like he's supplanting Zoolander, who's the greatest model, right? Like he's the new hottest model. Oh my god, he's so hot right now. You know, like to just straight up be making fun of himself. Like there's not that many people out there that have done such a great job of just like making fun of themselves in a very subdued way, you know, like it just
and loving it.
Yeah, and being just like totally happy, like all about it the whole time. I don't know.
Well, I think part of that was just the belief, you know. You believed that Owen Wilson believed that he was the hottest model, and same with Zoolander himself. They carried that air that they were the hottest dudes on the planet.
Right. Like it just was a fact.
Like S said, and he's Lightning McQueen. And like I said before, I think that was his most appropriate Owen Wilson role until Mobius and Mobius. That's his name, right? I wonder, does the middle M stand for Mobius?
I don't know.
They just can't put the third Mobius down in case people are standing in front of a mirror when they say his name out loud. Maybe. It might be a stretch. Anyway, I got to go and wrestle a crocodile real quick. Sarah's here. She'll talk. I'll do this one so we can see if she gets on screen. Nah. You have to move in then.
She has to scoot. Happy birthday. It's your birthday. Now it's going to be your birthday all day. Are you going to eat some cake? You better eat some cake because it's your birthday. And then you get cake tomorrow too.
Yeah. Unless the kids ate it all.
They do. No. No.
I have 3 sons.
Yeah. No. Just no. They'll probably eat all your cake. It's your happy birthday.
Yeah.
I'm so excited that it's your birthday. I didn't even know. I remember Blacky was telling me, I think he told me last week that it was going to be your birthday, and I was like, yeah. And then since the week went by, I forgot.
Oh.
And then he told me, and I was like, I remember now that I was forgetting.
Fun times.
True. Do you have big plans for today?
No, I don't. I went drawing this morning.
You did? Well, that's good.
I did. And I actually didn't know if I was going to be able to because I've got a little bit of a cold.
Uh-oh.
And so I'm not allowed to go if I'm coldy. But I decided I could make it, and I managed to get through the whole thing without coughing once. So I'm pretty stoked with that.
Well, that's one of those things that, like, I just keep wearing a mask whenever I'm out in public because I'm like, you know what? I didn't really catch that many colds or anything last year because wearing a mask wherever you go. It's like, I'm going to just keep up with it for a while until we get to a point where it's like, yeah, you just stop doing that. Oh, okay. Although maybe I might just keep it up even after the pandemic, just to be like, I just don't want to deal with people. And then maybe they'll leave me alone.
Yeah, they're diseased.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'm diseased. Stay away from me.
I like the idea of the masks in a sense. I think I got a little bit, not really, but like germophobic when I had little babies, and just the thought of what it would mean if we caught a virus, and all my kids are sick and, being out in public. And something about, even though there was this terrible, virus around, just knowing that everyone was washing their hands a lot and wearing masks made me feel like really safe and good. And like even going to the hospital, I had to go to the hospital emergency room a couple of times through it. Mm-hmm. And usually that feels like a place where, go to emergency and then like a week later you're going to have a flu or a vomiting bug or something. But, because they were making sure everyone was doing their hands before they went in and everyone had masks and they get to wear masks, I felt really safe and didn't get sick after taking my kid to emergency. So I like it. I like the masks.
Well, I'm a fan of it. Like, I hope that it carries on sort of the... All right, to be clear here, I've never been to Asia, so let's just chill on that whole critique. But most of the people I know that live in Asia, Asian countries and whatnot, like it's very commonplace. Like if you have a cold and you're going out, like if you have to go to the grocery store or you have to whatever, like it's very common to just wear a mask so you're not coughing on stuff or accidentally or whatever, right? Like I'm hoping that
sticks.
That part sticks, and like maybe people that are sick don't have to go, don't feel obligated, crazy obligated to go to work, or if they do go to work, like maybe they'll wear a mask while they're at work or whatnot. I don't know.
Yeah.
In the States, I don't know what it's like in Australia, but the States, you basically, if you have like a really good job, you have sick days. Like if you don't, you just lose those days of wages, right? So people just go to work sick. It's crazy. They just get jacked up on cold meds and go to work.
Yeah, you're right. You're either casual, part-time, or full-time in Australia, and if you're casual, you don't get sick days. But if you're part-time or full-time, you do. But it's accrued based on how many hours you work.
Right. They've implemented that like locally where I live. I think King and Pierce counties, which is like where Seattle and Tacoma are. Maybe Snohomish County too. I don't know. But like the populous area where I live has implemented that every 40 hours you work, you get 1 hour of
sick time or holiday
1 hour
time?
Of sick time. Yeah. So it's like, if you work for, some months and months, you'll probably have, a day or two of sick time or whatever.
Yeah. I can't remember what the what we get. I think it's like four if you're a full-time employee, which is 38 to 40 hours a week or more, I guess. I think you get 4 sick days a year and 2 weeks annual leave accrued, something like that.
Right.
As long as you're full-time.
Yeah, you need a decently good job here to get some weeks of vacation. You can't just be like a worker and get weeks of vacation. You switched it because the lightsaber was going through your head.
Oh no, I was quite enjoying that. I had Darth Vader brand ear cleaners. I was trying to line it up, but you know, when you're dealing with a mirror image, it's hard to get those angles spot on.
It's hard to like tilt your head just right.
No. And it didn't even clean the wax out.
So before you had to go pee, we were talking about the Loki TV show.
Yeah.
Like, I have to explain to you, like, it literally has all of the elements that I look for, or like no, hold on, that's not the way that I should describe that. They followed through on all of the elements that I
Expected.
That I enjoy.
Wanted. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
okay.
you know, like clearly the story is interesting. And all the work done into the show was also awesome. Like, I don't know, I was unexpected. Like you said, I didn't even, it's like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I was just kind of like, I kind of started watching the first one and I was like, I don't know, dude. Like, whatever, dude. Who cares? These guys are idiots. Like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
And
I
then
didn't
Loki,
enjoy that one.
it's like Loki. It was like, well, I kind of like the character in the comics and the lore, but like I don't know that I'm like highly invested in the character like itself from the MCU or whatnot. But like that first episode even like made me like the Loki character more because they like highlighted
Tom
what's that?
Hiddleston, the same guy who's played him in all the movies.
Okay, I haven't seen any of the movies.
Well, like the first
Tom Hiddleston, is it?
Well, like the Tom Hiddleston,
is it?
Middleston, eh?
I thought it started with an H. Anyway,
but like, so
he's an English guy. I think he's more of a theatre stage actor, wasn't he, before he hit the movies?
I think so, but I think he's fairly young. I think he's kind of my age, being real young,
That's generous. Real generous.
Well, I think he is. I think he's like right around 40-ish, Let me see. Tom
Hiddleston. There we go. BJ. Yeah, we'll see.
Hiddleston.
I'm not oh
my God, I was right. He's a year younger than me.
So
he's
he's old.
He's all 40.
Yo, as
40 is the new 10, right?
I've not really been here and there. Like, there's superheroes that I enjoy and stuff, but I've never been a massive fan of either DC or Marvel movies and stuff. But when WandaVision came out and it was a completely different feel and vibe to all the movies and the superhero stuff, they really went down another avenue. They, like, my impression of Marvel started climbing upwards. I don't think anyone will see that from so far away.
That's fine.
And then, like you said before, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier came out, and then I started to dip again because it was the same crap that all the other superhero movies do. Right. And then, so I went into Loki with reasonably low expectations, and when at the end of the episode, I was just blown away by how they did it and the concept.
Well, my thing has been, for me, like, I think, Marvel has not been perfect by any metric at all. Like, I'm not saying that they're perfect, but their movies at least have done, basically since Iron Man came out, they've done in my opinion, a really good job of sort of tying the movies sort of loosely together, in the fact of going like, this actually is, we are the Marvel world. Like the whole world of Marvel is really, this whole universe, and kind of slowly introducing stuff. And I've always been a more of a Marvel fan, comic book wise, than DC for sure. 100%, not even really a question for me. But I since like the Iron Man came out and stuff, I thought they did a pretty good job of like tying the movies together, progressively getting better, screwing up, and then
learning from their errors,
learning from it, and adapting and going like, let us like figure out how we can make sure that all of the lore fits together over this like giant sweeping projects that are crazy. And you have Star Wars background, and you guys know that I'm a big fan of Star Wars. I'm not the world's biggest fan of Star Wars or anything. Like there's stuff I surely am like, hey, I don't know that. I certainly haven't seen it all. But if we talk about like the 9 movies, as far as Star Wars goes, it's like, the first 3 came out, they're wonderful, right? Then the prequels came out, and everybody's always been pretty angry at the prequels because there's like so many like dumb, weird parts in it and stuff like that. And but I was thinking about it, and I was also like, I was listening to some in-depth essay work. Like, who's the guy? Guy did like a 2-hour long like edited essay on the prequel and why the prequel made so much more sense versus the newest 3 movies, right?
Yeah.
And it really kind of like reminded me of a lot of elements where like, they had lesser technology, they did this, they did that. There's just like a whole bunch of stuff that they did that was like, at least gave me an appreciation for the prequel movies where you're like, yeah, I mean, maybe it was just like a little weird and there was stuff that was off-putting enough that like threw it off the rails. But also you could see that like a lot of the stuff actually made sense as to like why it was in there. But, the last 3 movies, there's just so much. They just screwed up so hard. Like they just screwed up so insanely hard. It's difficult to like track with those, like they had to bring back Palpatine for, cause it's like, well, they just killed Snoke and did, the second one, yeah. So then they had got another director and then they had to figure out how to fix it, and it's like, why would they build a giant, why would you bother building a giant Death Star if you could just crash ships like going light speed and crashing into things, like with, all that kind of wacky stuff. But
I think the general population don't have enough access to the other materials that fill in the blanks in the stories and stuff.
Right.
I know it's pretty much on a weekly basis that I tout the Darth Vader comics, but there's so many of the Palpatine and Vader gaps that are filled in with those comics.
Indeed, you are correct. I think you're correct. But I think like you can't go into making those giant productions that are going to be seen by millions and millions and millions and millions of people and just throw away the storyline just because like, a good example would be somebody I was listening to like last week. They were talking about how the speeders were replaced with those track racer things.
And the red dirt or the white sand that was red when they cut into it, those ones.
No, there's hold on, what are they called?
Yeah, sorry, Joel G. It wasn't toffee pops. Sarah was opening her birthday presents from me. What the hell are toffee pops anyway?
Imagine there's some kind of lollies.
What was that?
I hope they're okay. They're only cheap.
All those other
Like
cheap
me.
ones that you pulled out of the cupboard and gave me are what I've been painting with, and they're like pretty destroyed. But I've been painting.
What did I pull out of the cupboard?
There is
cheap brand paintbrushes.
Wish I remembered that. I wouldn't have bought you new ones. It sounds like you need them if they're destroyed.
But I need some more that are like that, like nice big chunky
Square
so I
ends.
can,
so there was like, what the hell was that thing? It was like so they were in hot pursuit, and it was like this track vehicle that the stormtroopers were riding. Oh my god, there's so many vehicles here. This is goofy.
That's why there's multiple books about Star Wars vehicles.
Oh yeah, but hold on. With tank treads. Should look up like Star Wars vehicles with tank treads that don't make any sense.
Not the ones from The Mandalorian. It's not what you're thinking of, is it?
No. These are fast. They were fast. They
right.
used them to like chase down. They were trying to chase down Poe and.
If only Brett was here, he'd know.
God damn it! What were those called?
I mean, we might have them,
like-
Joel G,
like-
but I
Like
just
a
don't visit
bullshit
the lolly
vehicle
shop.
from the new. I don't know. Star Wars tanks make absolutely no sense. Okay.
Yeah, I can't even visualize them, but I'm nearly up to the new 3 movies again.
My God. Wars tread vehicles. Sorry, this is gonna bug the shit out of me.
I think
The
most
first
stuff,
order,
at least
all right,
the
the first
go.
order tread speeder. Okay, the first order tread speeder. And it's so it's in the Rise of Skywalker, and they're on that desert planet in the Rise of Skywalker. Not the end, or not the white sand with the red, but this is literally like it's like a tank tread, and one person gets on it. Let me see if I can see. Whoop! I hit the wrong button. Save image as. 2 render there. All right, let me see if I can't share this up here. So it's this thing. Let me go add source. This does take just a few seconds, guys. Sorry, it's this thing.
Yeah, Alyssa, I think everything that goes through
It's this thing.
to New Zealand has to go through Australia. Hang on, I better put you on full screen so my old eyes can see it. Yeah, right.
And so like an individual rider goes back there, and they were using this as a pursuit vehicle. They were using it like as like a cop chase vehicle, you know? And it's like, oh, action packed and all that. And it's literally like they're chasing a vehicle that is floating in the air. It's like it's hovering, right? And they're like, oh, it's because this needs better traction. You're like, why would anything need traction when you have the technology to not require traction?
Yeah.
Because you're flying, you're floating,
To float
you're
2
whatever
feet
you
off
want to
the
call it.
surface.
It's stuff like that where it's just like literally people are just like, oh, I think this would be cool, and then they get $5 million to make this thing, and you're like, what are you doing? Like it's so stupid. There's
Just
like
purely
there's
for
other like
aesthetics.
there's other land vehicles they have that also make no sense. Star Wars: The Practical Reason for Rise of Skywalker's Tread Speeders. Like here's a whole
Someone's written an
here's a
essay
whole
on it.
article. Here's a whole article on like why it's practical, and it's like, and you could easily read this whole article, and then your answer to the stupidity of it would be they don't need to be on the ground. They don't need grip on the ground. They don't need that. And then also, they like the people that are racing around on the tread speeder, the troopers, the stormtroopers, they all crash and die. So it's like these things don't even do the pursuit thing that they're supposedly supposed to do well, because the people in pursuit end up dying in a fiery crash, and the vehicle gets destroyed in the process also. So not only is there like an idiotic downside to the criminals getting away, but there's the economic downside of the vehicle being destroyed, and the troopers die. So you have like moral, you have like every downside to the tread speeder thing, which just makes no sense. That at some point in time when they were making it, they should have gone like, hey, why are the other characters floating up in the air? You know? Yeah. There's stuff like that.
Sure. There must be something in that article to justify why it's got a massive tread on it. Maybe it's got
it says that you're gonna get better grip on the ground and rough terrain, which is like,
right.
hey man, if you're floating, you don't need to have any concern about rough terrain because you float over it and you fly in the air like a freaking bird.
Maybe it's got a hybrid engine. Maybe it only floats half of the time and it has to touch the ground the rest of the time. I might be clutching at straws though.
It's just nonsense. They just thought it would look cool because of the race thing, you know.
Yeah. But you know,
which is unfortunate.
I don't think generally I don't entertain many bad words about any of the films. I think they've all got their own merits, as silly as some of the moments might be. Alien World Aquatics has made it. G'day, Scotty. How's it going? Sarah's birthday, Scott, a week after yours. She's a little bit older than you're 23, though, Scotty. Only by 4 years, didn't we say? 27. Maybe 29, Corvus suggested.
BJ.
Good.
True.
What you need?
I don't know. BJ has a good point.
Needs the balance point, whatever you call it, the fulcrum.
Yeah.
Another famous Star Wars word. 38. Scotty, you liar. Yeah, I can't remember what Sarah is. 37. Hang on. What year were you born in, Scott? 83? S. I think S is trying to rile me up, saying the trilogy stinks.
The new one? The new one is just not good.
Oh, wow, Scotty, you're only a week away from Sarah's age. You guys are the same age.
Like, there's just so many parts in the new 3 movies that don't make any sense and ruin their own and ruin, like, within the movie it ruins itself. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. You know, and like literally, like they brought Palpatine back. Like, it makes no sense that, like, Makes no sense that they were like making all these Snoke clones. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like, oh, you can just make a force sensitive being now. Like you just make all these clones. I don't know. It's just so many like wonky, stupid parts. Like they never explained why all those ships were being built.
Again,
Right? Like,
I'm going to refer you to the Darth Vader comics. Because not only was the origin of those big Star Killer kind of ships explained,
not the Star Killer,
the Star Destroyers with the big gun on the bottom of them.
Well, yeah, but like also all of the Star Destroyers on that planet. Like, there's a whole fleet of ships there, right?
Yeah. It's kind of explained in the Darth Vader comics as well as Palpatine.
Yeah, I get that it's like kind of explained. I get that it's like kind of explained in the comics. Like I understand that, but like I don't even know what the budget was for those. Like hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. You have endless budget. You know, like you have endless budget and you have basically endless time because there'd be like 3 years in production or something, right?
Yeah.
You have like all access to all visual effects. You have all access to like set build and design. You have all access to writers, like endless supply of writers, editors, gaffers, whatever. How many actors do you need? 500? Here you go. Here they are. They'll do whatever you want them to do. They'll stick their hands up in the air. They'll jump up and down. They'll run around. They'll, likely actually light themselves on fire. Who knows? You have endless actors. You have endless everything. And literally, it's just like, I mean, they made the Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings is 100 hours long, right? So that they could fill in a bunch of the gaps that the book has. And they didn't even get everything in there, but at least it tells the story in an in-depth way. And by the way, there's no like rule that says this movie has to be 2 hours long, or you could have literally made a 6-hour movie and you probably would have done just as much. And like part 2 could have been 4 hours long, and the first 2 hours came out on Christmas, and the second 2 hours come out in May, right? And everybody would have gone to see it. There's just no. Yeah. I don't know. You have a gigantic audience. I mean, you could literally probably put a movie up of just a scroll of different lightsaber designs. Like here's one that we came up with last week, and then stay tuned because here comes another lightsaber that we did the design for this one. It's emulated after King George IV's whatever. You literally could put that up in the movies, and you would have like a ton of people would go see it. They just be like, oh man, I went to the dissertation on lightsabers. Man, it was actually pretty rad. I know a lot about hilts and scabbards and I
think that 4-hour movie, The Irishman, proved that people will flock to the cinema in droves and sit down and watch a 4-hour movie that's quite tedious.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like especially if you're going to the theater. I mean, if you're going to the theater, it's like $60.
You might as well get your money's worth and a sore ass.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's one of those things. You know what I mean? It's just like it's one of those real solid things that you're going to spend a lot of money, and like no one would be like, well, it was 2 hours and 15 minutes long. I would have been happier if it was 2 hours and 5 minutes long, because then I would have been able to make my dentist appointment on time. Like, what are you talking about? Like, and the reality is, like, if people don't want to see it in the theater because you don't want to like go to the theater and sit down and watch the whole thing, people will watch friggin' 19 hours of The Walking Dead in a row at their house. So I mean, the audience exists. It's just, that's the thing.
Potentially too, the modern trilogy might have been the sole reason why Filoni and his crew created the can't recall what they're called, but the team that are responsible for making sure that the storylines fit together and stuff with all of the TV shows and whatnot coming out. I think basically because they had their complaints of those three movies, how they ruined canon a little bit. I think that was the sole instigation for this group of 6 or 7 people, whatever it is, that their sole responsibility is ensuring that stuff that is canon fits with canon, etc.
Right. And it should make sense with all the other stuff. And I mean, that's my big issue, is that this is a gigantic release with just this amazing amount of money behind it. Who approved this edit where they're just just go nuts, man. Who cares? Who cares? This thing is worth $9 billion. Just who cares? Just go totally bonkers, and we'll put a thing out, and then we'll
check it out,
ruin all sorts of stuff, and we'll just put it out there because who cares? Nobody cares. Whatever, billions of dollars worth of a thing, and then just throw it right in the trash, and then hopefully hopefully hire somebody else to do the next movie and hopefully somehow tie it all together so it makes sense, but it doesn't really make sense. But the question that I was kind of proposing out there was and I guess in my head was the idea behind making the Star Killer base, right? So you make the Death Star, the Death Star is going to get blown up. And then you make Star Killer base, that the Star Killer base is
you forgot to say spoiler alert
for the Death Star getting blown up.
Yeah,
there's only one person in the chat that doesn't know about the Death Star, and he doesn't care if we spoil it because Big D doesn't mind. He don't pay no never mind, right? But so that this big infrastructure project that you're going to build is likely going to be targeted and blown up somehow, right? So, in realistic terms, that you will armies out there and stuff will they will spend the money to do a big piece of technology like that. I mean, you just look at the nuclear weapons, right? Small countries out there will spend billions and billions and billions of dollars to try and get their hands on one to, so that does exist, right? So we know that exists, and we know that you're going to build that thing so that you can implement your takeover of more area, or are they has the First Order already taken over all of the planets or whatever? It's just it's this whole really very disjointed thing where you don't really know what the hell is going on. Of is the First Order really big? Have they taken over big, huge portions of the galaxy, or are they a small? Hey, we've got 20 planets or something, and then we're we want to take over more of the galaxy. It's just it just seems it very weird and disjointed of who are the baddies? Who are the baddies? What exactly is going on with them?
Is overconfidence their biggest trait?
Yeah, I don't know. It seems to be. I don't know. It's very bizarre. I don't know. But yeah, just it's very odd. I don't know. It's been bothering me over the last week again because I'm I know that they're making the next Mandalorian, and I hope that's good. And you watch The Bad Batch, and The Bad Batch is filling in. It's basically filling in the gap at the same point in the timeline, essentially, that The Mandalorian is. I mean, I guess The Mandalorian would be a couple years before Order 66, or no, they'd be after.
Well, we get a couple of nice overlaps, I think, because we get a little bit of overlap. Well, not so much overlap, I guess, but only plot-based overlap with what was the video game that I was saying? Fallen Order, Jedi Fallen Order. You know, we ended up at Braca, where we last saw Cal Kestis, I believe. No, that's where he was found first, wasn't he? So yeah, the Fallen Order was a bit after, but potentially also
Captain Rex. Wasn't that the last episode?
Yeah, Captain Rex, and they're on Braca, that's where we first meet Cal Kestis in Jedi Fallen Order.
Right.
Which is just an absolutely brilliant storyline and great stuff. Potentially also with the hubris directed towards the modern trilogy. What do we call them? What do they call them?
Modern trilogy, I guess.
Well, the latest 3 movies, yeah.
I guess a modern trilogy would be a good way to put it. Yeah.
I guess that's probably another really good reason to do all of these shows in that sort of timeline between, A New Hope and where we're seeing everything fall now around Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back kind of era. The detective one that's coming out, I can't remember its name, but that's set before A New Hope, so there's some more storylines that they'll fill in. But potentially they might use some of the TV shows set after Return of the Jedi to fill in some blanks.
Who's on the timeline of before A New Hope?
Remember the dude from Rogue One?
Yeah.
He starts with A. Maybe? No.
Well, yeah, but everybody died in Rogue One.
Yeah, that's why he was like a cop or something. Cassian, thank you. Cassian Andor. I believe the show is called Andor, and it's I believe it's going to be like a gritty noir style detective show, based on his life when he was a detective, whoever he worked for, before he shows up in Rogue One. So obviously we know he's going to die, but it's going to be a really interesting angle on a show that they take.
I'm breathing loud. I'm sighing loudly into the mic.
Yeah, because you don't like knowing that the dude's going to be dead soon.
I don't want to know if they are going to die or not going to die. You understand? You understand? Like, it takes all of the suspense and like any kind of point where you're suspenseful or there's adrenaline or an interaction that may or may not make you, oh, I'm kind of worried. Oh, this is a problem. Is that street thug going to stab him? No. And if he does, well, who cares? He survives his wounds. It doesn't matter. Like, oh, well, maybe there's a montage of him being in the hospital for 30 seconds. Drag. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, we know the end. Here's the thing. You know that movie, The Titanic? Do you know that movie? Have you seen it?
I don't know if I've seen all of it, but I get the gist of it.
Right. I've still never seen that damn movie. I don't want to see it. Don't care. I know what happens in the end. The boat sinks, and X amount of people are saved. That's it.
I think the only reason I watched it was to see Kate Winslet's bush and her boobs.
Well, yeah, I mean, that seems to be the only resounding timeless element. The only timeless element.
Once that bit happened, you know, we all know what happens at the end.
You're going to draw me like one of your French girls?
Was I can't remember what podcast I was listening to the other day, but they brought up the Titanic movie.
No, I will not watch it. My boycott stands strong. I'm not going to watch Titanic.
Well, one of the guys said, "Oh, did you see the version of it with the alternate endings?" And the other guy's instant response was, "What? Did they make an ending where the boat didn't sink?" But yeah, it wasn't to do with the boat not sinking. It was to do with a little bit of a different behaviour that something something happened at the end with the big rock or whatever, the jewel, the gem.
Jewels, run the jewels, man.
But yeah, it's not. I mean, granted, it was a massive movie for James Cameron, but I'm not going out of my way to watch it and finish it.
I'm sure it was, man. At the time, back then, they basically, when that movie was out, like they would basically just send a copy to your house for free. Like it was just that ridiculous. Remember, I got one in the mail and I threw it out. I threw it out the window into the fire pit and burned it.
You're actually serious? They did actually do that, did they?
Yeah, I think it was a phone company. I think like if you upgraded your phone service or something goofy like that, like they sent you a copy in the mail. I mean, it was everywhere. It was everywhere, and I was like, no, I'm not. No, I got better things to do.
G'day, brothers.
Like sit in the dark by myself and not watch the Titanic. That would be better.
Yeah, there's certainly better things to watch in the dark.
Near, far. Yeah.
That was a big digression away from Loki. I don't know if did we get any closure on Loki? I don't
know, man. That show is so good. I'm just warning you guys. I'm going to gush about it every week. Every week I come on here and I talk to you. I'm gonna be sweaty. I'm gonna be sweaty over like how good Loki is. If the rest of the episodes are as good as that first one, I'm gonna be
frothing.
Moist over here. I'm gonna be sweaty. I'm gonna have to dab my brow and go all old timey on you and talk about mint juleps and shit. You know, it's gonna be out of control.
G'day, natural.
I'm gonna pinky up and drink my water.
I don't have a choice. Mine's always up. It's about as good as I can do it.
Oh, you broke that one, eh?
Dislocated both knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
It's good fun. It's good fun when you look at your finger and the middle bit's going 45 degrees to the other two parts of your finger.
Indeed. I normally get them straightened back out.
Well, see, it was in a game of cricket and I still had some bowling to do, so I put it back in myself and finished off my bowling and then left it a few days before I went and saw a doctor about it. I thought I put it back in okay, but finger begs to differ.
Indeed.
And then, by the time I saw the doctor, he said, I'm going to have to break that probably to put it back in, and your knuckle bone may shatter if I do that.
Accidentally. I was accidentally reading the chat.
Goodness.
It is good to see Captain Rex again. I'm happy. Oh, yeah. So the Bad Batch. Did we talk about that at all? We haven't really discussed that at all. Yeah,
no,
the planet.
We've delicately alluded to it, but yeah,
they got their chips out, and Wrecker basically tried to kill everybody. I knew that was coming. You know.
Yeah.
That was the initial headache thing, like right out the gate, was like, that has to do with the chip. And then like he got the headache again. It was like, yeah, this has to do with the chip.
And that shit was getting tedious. So I'm really glad.
I'm glad we've resolved that.
Yeah, before, like, we're not even halfway through the season, and the most annoying thing about the show has been sorted out.
Has been sorted, which is good.
Yeah.
I'm kind of anticipating this week's episode. There's gonna be some interesting things going on this planet.
At Braca, because they stayed at Braca, didn't they? At the end of the episode, they didn't leave yet.
Yeah, they stayed, and I'm thinking that they're going to be there for a couple of episodes. Would be my guess. I think this is going to be a bit of an arc here on the Braca. That's right.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of hoping that they do run into a version of Cal Kestis. I quite enjoyed him as a character.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know who I'm talking about, go on to the YouTubes and watch video gameplay of Jedi Fallen Order. If you get yourself a good one, there's some brilliant cutscene footage and gameplay footage that tells this whole other Star Wars story that not many people know about. Yeah, fantastic. I never played the game. I'm quite happy to have just watched the movie. I guess you still call it a movie. It tells a story with visual imagery. That's all you need, isn't it, to qualify for that definition?
It's hard to keep track. Like I said last week, though, like the thing that's worrying me at this point is being in this time space where you're going to run into the traffic jam of running into existing storyline. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because like obviously they're going to spend a good amount of time trying to explain how the First Order came to be. And I'm going to be honest with you when I say I think a big part of their plan is to essentially redo the modern trilogy. I think that's probably what they're guiding all this investment towards. Because they're real, as far as I know, there really isn't real content like past this trilogy that's made. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a few books maybe and stuff, but like
anything that's that's further in the future than the new trilogy is not considered canon. It's all considered legend stuff.
Right. But I'm saying that, like, I'm not sure if they even have anything from like George Lucas as far as like what happens realistically. Like, I don't even know how much involvement he really had with the modern trilogy. Like, I don't think he really had much, to be honest.
Yeah,
because,
I don't
like,
think so either.
I don't think you would have seen these like glaring editing flaws and stuff with just the storyline, like, and like just ruining the whole the whole universe, like, basically, realistically, like the second movie of the modern trilogy, like, you just ruined so many elements of this whole gigantic story. Like, making Starkiller Base obviously was like a big deal. Making the Death Star was obviously a big deal. It's like, it's the nuclear weapon move of this universe in comparison to the world that we live on, right?
Yeah.
So it's clear, like, these military groups, these military governments, these military run style, authoritarian style government groups try to get this giant weapon, right? Like, that's the thing.
G'day, Holly. G'day, Mylene.
But the reality is, like, if you just go into light speed, you just destroy all sorts of stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just so many like glaring, goofy, nonsensical things that like don't make any sense, and they like never paid off a bunch of the stuff that they were like kind of alluding to. You know what I mean? Like Finn's character never, like, it never made sense, like why he, why he revolted. Like, I remember somebody brought up a good point of like, so he obviously is a stormtrooper. He spent his whole life being a stormtrooper, and he knows that he's no. But the thing is, like, nothing really snapped in him. Like, he was, like, in the first movie, he was like, he brought like a really human element to the stormtrooper situation, right? Like where they are at in the progress of like what the stormtrooper army is and all that stuff. Like, whether they're indentured servants or they're just brainwashed or whatever, who knows? Like, but either way, the stormtroopers are all individual people. Like they're clearly laying down the groundwork to go like, these are all people, and here's like the story of one of them, so you can kind of get an idea that like these aren't all just robots and whatnot that are being destroyed, right? But then it never pays off. Like his story never makes sense because it's like a month later or a couple weeks later, and he like celebrates when he shoots stormtroopers and they die. Like they like savagely die all over the place, and he just like audibly and physically celebrates when he like has killed some of them, right? And you're like, but that none of that ever makes sense. Like they never like make sense of why he would be
relishing in it.
Yeah, like why would he be like all excited that he was? And then at one point, like he was like going back to be a stormtrooper again, right? Like, wasn't there a part where he was like, "I'm just gonna go back and be a stormtrooper" or whatever?
I don't remember.
Like, never mind, I'm not gonna be. Or no, he was gonna just leave the rebellion. Like he obviously didn't care about the rebellion. Like he was just gonna peace out and like go hang out by himself or whatever, right?
Go farm moisture.
Yeah, he's going to become a moisture farmer with a couple of skeletons. But it's just so weird, man. It's just, I don't know.
Man, those two coffees have stitched me up. I've got to disappear again. Keep going. I probably can hear you from inside.
But I think like the reality of like where I'm kind of stuck in my head is that like you're doing the Bad Batch, you're doing the Mandalorian, you're doing the Ahsoka Tano, you're doing whatever other Star Wars shows that they're doing, but they all seem to like be right in that space in between Return of the Jedi and the New Order, whatever the first of the modern day trilogy is called. I forget, Rise of Skywalker or what was it? And anyhow, but all that stuff is all jammed into this little time period in between this trilogy and the other trilogy that you're basically just going to run into the next you're going to run into the next storyline. And I think what they're going to do is try to redo the modern trilogy movies. I think is what they'll probably try to do somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, well, they've done it before with stuff, and they've just gone. They can go, well, these movies weren't actually canon. This is the new canon. We're bringing these 3 movies out to tell that story.
Right.
But essentially, you're going to probably be dirty if they bring Fennec Shand back into the Bad Batch, aren't you?
I mean, I'm not mad about it.
But you know that she's not going to die just yet.
Not just yet.
Because we know she's still there like 10 years later or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, she's not going to die.
10 years, actually.
Yeah, but we don't know how far away the Mandalorian really is.
Yeah, it's about 5 years after Jedi, I think. Isn't it?
Yeah, but like in order. Well, let me think here.
So
you have Return of the Jedi, right?
Yeah.
Vader's dead. Then they raise all the. Oh, okay. So that's kind of like in. Yeah, I guess that's in that kind of like existential space of time right there, right? Like, so 5 years after Return of the Jedi, so Luke is sort of super powerful or whatever, and then like he just gives up here pretty soon.
Yeah, something like that.
He's like all powerful, and then he just gives up, and he's like, "Screw it, never mind."
Yeah, because I speculate that where Episode 7 of the Bad Batch left off, I think like the Scrappers, I think they're called Scrappers. Who are they going to tell that they've seen these guys? I'm assuming it's going to be Fennec Shand, and Fennec Shand is going to be turning up on Braca next week or the week after, hunting them down. And I'm hoping but that's where Cal Kestis steps in and potentially helps him out a bit. G'day, Dells. How are ya?
Wait a minute. So, all right, hold on a minute. Because the Bad Batch is Luke is a baby,
Yes,
and then the Mandalorian, Luke's a full-grown man.
correct.
So we're filling in like that time space of like with the Bad Batch like trying to fight back or whatever. But that's not going to work out. It's not going to work out well.
Yeah, it's an interesting 20 or 30 years.
But Fennec Shan meets up with the Mandalorian, right? With Mando.
Yeah, and she's like, I think.
So how old is she supposed to be at that point? Like 100 years old or something?
No, she's like in her 50s or something. G'day, Kenny. Because when we first met her in the Bad Batch, she was clearly very young, probably late teens, early 20s, and it was told to us in the dialogue that she was only new to the bounty hunting game, but she's making a big name for herself.
Right.
And even I think Ming-Na Wen, I think that's the actress's name that plays her. She's also in her 50s or 60s or something, and only looks like a 30-year-old. So I think it's quite believable. her age bracket that she fits into.
Right. She's anywhere between 20 and 90 years old. Got it.
Yeah, it's good to have a loose window to work within, you know.
Sure. Yeah. Makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I honestly feel like they're kind of like filling in these gaps to try and get ready to remake the modern trilogy. I think that's what they're probably gonna do, and like try to. I think, because like I just don't know how you get past the modern day trilogy, like if nobody's writing for it. And to be honest with you, like I think that's probably where that's probably like for me, that's probably where some real interesting stories could come out, because you're not conflicting, you know what I mean? Like you're not conflicting with the previous story, because you could literally be like, well, this is the evolution of them, like in the future. And like at any point in time, I think like if you made that content and maybe you were like, maybe something happened in that show that didn't work with like what's happening in the Mandalorian specifically or whatever, it would just be kind of like, well, that just was lost to the annals of time or whatever, right? Like you just be like, well, those people in the future just didn't know exactly what happened in the past, right? Whereas if you have the Mandalorian, like, I don't know, kill somebody, you know what I mean? Like he's going to kill somebody who's actually alive in the later movies. You're like, well, hey, wait a minute here. Like that doesn't work.
I think that's one of the best things about the Acolyte series. I think it's going to be a limited run series as well, but I think it's probably got the most potential for a long run, because it's set 200 years before episode 1. So, there's absolutely no entanglements with our current storylines and stuff to get confused with. It's just this whole blank canvas that they can start working with.
Yeah, I think that's like for me, I think that's what they should really like.
Just find a different group of people to focus on and new storylines and stuff, instead of continually messing around with the current stuff that everyone is so deeply involved with. But give us a different storyline. We all appreciate the universe and what goes on out there. Tell us some new characters. Pardon me.
The Fish Tropic has a good point. Who has $1 billion so we can open our movie studio, Fish Vision Productions? I mean, that's the thing. Like, you know, I mean, I know I've been talking about it on my live stream for the last couple months, maybe, you know, five months or something like that. But I've been pretty much just going back to the drawing board for myself, you know, and just doing live streams to stay in contact with my community and stuff, and like talk about things and express that and everything. But like, as far as like my content goes,
do
like
that instead.
I'm going back to the drawing board myself. So like, I feel like it's good advice for anybody that gets like way off track. Like, as far as like whether it's Star Wars or Friends or whatever show, it doesn't really matter, or a movie or whatever. Like, you get like way off track like that, to figure out like a way to reset so that you could get back to the basics of like, okay, we have to write the story and it can't like screw with all the other stuff. And then now that we have the story, we can start the production, and don't get sidetracked on some stupid, for instance, the track speeder things, you know, like let's not get distracted by that, and let's just stick with telling a good story and whatnot. You know,
I feel that that was their main motivation for doing the stories from 200 years ago,
right?
And I think that's supposed to be around Darth Plagueis's time, so he might be the only link that we've got to the current time. Actually, I think it's a little bit before him anyway.
Fish Tropic, like, why did they end Entourage? I don't know, man. I thought like the first season of Entourage, like, really had some magic to it. But I think they started to run out of stories from Marky Mark, you know, to really keep that going. I thought that they could have gone like into a lot more depth with the characters from Entourage, and it would have done. I think it would have done better had they gone a more serious tone and less MTV Cribs with Entourage. I think they could have done like a lot more of the personal interactions and that kind of stuff with Entourage, and I think it could have kept it going for a lot of seasons. I think like the first one had like a real good like the first season had some magic to it. Like, it really had like, ooh, you know, and then after that it kind of definitely went
I don't think I ever watched an episode of that.
Oh, you haven't watched it?
No.
I'd say like the first season will rope you in for sure. Like the first season you're like, whoa, hey, this is kind of wild. And it was definitely sort of a different style at the time. But you know, it definitely went like, you know, that sort of MTV off the rails thing. I don't know how to explain it, but
I thought you were fixing to say words.
me?
No, Sarah.
Oh,
She kept saying in my ear, but no further words come out.
Yeah, I was saying
She's tricking you.
She is.
Trixie.
We'll let her get away with it today, being her birthday and all.
That's true.
You're
My
allowed to be
birthday.
Trixie.
I can be Trixie any day if I want to.
Hey man, when are you going to get over 1,000 subscribers? What's going on here?
I don't know. I'm too scared to open YouTube to see how many I've got. Probably still 701.
No, it says 706.
706.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's probably why I don't look at it. So it's a pleasant surprise when it's jumped up by 3 or 4.
It went up.
I think it did a similar thing once I got up over 700, and I think it went to like 704 and then back down to 701. And, you know, there's some fickle humans out there who hear a couple of dodgy words here and there and they just go and unsubscribe.
Ooh, Daniken has a good point here. It says what they need is a great new Star Trek. Ooh, that reminds me, Daniken. I'm going to be coming down to do an Oregon tour, and I want to stop at your guys' house for a day and probably a night because I have my trailer.
Need
So I parked my trailer out front of your place for a night. I think your neighbors probably won't freak out too much. I'm bringing my travel trailer. I'm coming to Oregon.
What's
But he had a good question of what they need is a great new Star Trek. Which I think they do have they have the new Star Trek. Like J.J. Abrams like rebooted the Star Trek.
I didn't see any of them either. Are they worth it?
Oh, you haven't seen those?
No.
I think at this point where you're at, like you could probably go watch the 3. I think it's 3. And you would probably have some criticisms if you only watched like one at a time. But I think if you watched all 3, you'd be like, oh, wow, they're really kind of going roundy with the Star Trek stuff. Because the Star Trek definitely has like a lot more of the kind of cheesy elements along with it.
See,
it's definitely
I've never really done that much Star Trek, so I don't think it could disappoint or amaze me, really.
Yeah. I mean, they basically reboot the classic characters. Right. So, I mean, you have Spock and
Kirk.
Captain Kirk and everybody. They reboot it because everyone's old and they died in real life, right? So what they did is they rebooted it in the way that this is a divergent timeline.
Yeah, right.
So it's all the same characters, but this is a skewed timeline because of
they've gone and done some other stuff.
Yeah, they have a time travel thing, and I think that J.J. Abrams did a pretty darn good job, in my opinion, of figuring out a really good way to reboot a very classic series in a way that you'd be able to make the movies for a good amount of time again, and keep the story going. Fish Tropic said, name the best trilogy ever made.
Well, hang on a sec. Before we go there, was Kenny maybe asking that question because he didn't enjoy the new Star Trek films?
I don't know. But I'm not sure. But I don't know. I think the new Star Trek is pretty. I mean, to me, it was the best that you could expect out of that specific genre and rebooting it in the way that they did. I honestly felt like there was a bunch of kind of parts where I was like, okay, weird, whatever. And I definitely, like, from the analytical side, I could definitely pass some judgments on like choices that they made or whatever. But also at the same time, it was like, yeah, they really took the like audiences will have fun with this and ran with it. You know what I mean? Like they kind of ran with that pretty well. I think that I think that the issue that they have now is that all of the actors that they put in got famous because of being in it. You know what I mean? So now you're like, oh my God, it's going to be like 10 million an actor, blah, 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 to try and make more of them, I think. I would say, what do you think as far as like the greatest trilogy ever made? I know a lot of people are saying Lord of the Rings, and I definitely am just a huge Lord of the Rings fan. But I would say I think honestly the best trilogy ever made would be the Harry Potter series. It's like it was such a good trilogy. They made 7 movies out of it or whatever.
Oh, it doesn't. Once it goes past 3, it doesn't qualify anymore, surely.
So you say. Well, then Star Wars doesn't count because that's 9.
Were you going to agree? You like Harry Potter as well?
No.
Like I would say that like I think
it was like a 5-part trilogy.
That's a good point. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, 5-part trilogy.
It's true. 5-part trilogy. That's correct. Man, I wish they would have done a better job with that movie. I think the movie was so delightful, but they never got to be able to make the whole, whatever. It is what it is. I love the Hitchhiker's Guide.
I guess it's hard to transpose writing like that into a visual experience, isn't it? Maybe.
Well, I don't know. I mean, they did the detective agency. What is it?
Did that really well, Dirk Gently.
Dirk Gently was so good, and they canceled it after 2 seasons because the BBC is ridiculous, or whoever produced it. I think it was the BBC, but I wish they would make more seasons of that. So good.
Yeah. Great show.
But I would say that like the Harry Potter series, I think like if you really sat down and had a list of the best movie series trilogies, right? Because I mean, like Back to the Future would be in there. What was the trilogy with the good, the bad, and the ugly?
Fistful of Dollars.
Fistful of Dollars and a mule for what's her name? The nun. What is it? Sarah? Is this Sarah? I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think I have to go back and watch those again. They were classics. Oh yeah, The Conjuring. Isn't there a new Conjuring movie as well coming out or just out?
Well, yeah, because there's a Fistful of Dollars. What is that? A mule for the nun? God, what the... All right, directed by Sergio Leone. Let me look this up. We'll be able to look up the movies he made because they're in there. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, Indiana as well. Another good, soon-to-be 5-part trilogy. Did you see the story the other day about the lady
so Fistful of Dollars, A Few Dollars More, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, Once Upon a Time in the West, Duck You Sucker, Once Upon a Time in America. So what is it? I think it's A Fistful of Dollars, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
A Few Dollars More. They were the original 3, weren't they?
And A Few Dollars More, I think. A Few Dollars More and The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. What's the why is that not in here? What's the... Because there's the movie that's like a mule for Sarah, or where the fuck... What is that?
The Mule for Sister Sarah.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, well, Skull Aquatics has put it into the chat, and then BJ's telling you to look at the chat, and you'll learn it.
Yeah, 2 mules for Sister Sarah. There we go. That's what I was like.
2 mules. You get 2 mules, Sister Sarah.
Yeah. Because I think that's the other... I think that's supposed to be the other part of that trilogy or something. I don't know, man. I'm always confused by Clint Eastwood's movie madness. It's mind-bending. What was the trilogy? So, I mean, there's that one. Whatever that Country West trilogy is. That one would be up there with Sergio Leone. Yeah, because I think it's A Fistful of Dollars, A Few More Dollars, and The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. That's the 3, right? Isn't that right? I think that's
that's what the original 3 were. I didn't know that the other ones were still the same character.
Yeah, Angel Eyes, Cuchillo, and Manolo. That's right. And then Joe, he plays Monoko, or what is it? Manco? Yeah, and Blondie. And then he calls him Blondie by the end. Yeah, because that's the trilogy, because all the actors are almost all the same.
Is that beep? I just heard a weird beep, but it seemed to come from a bizarre location. Indiana Jones got a mention as well, and I saw a funny story the other day about a lady and her son.
Well, it's like, Back to the Future. Back to the Future's got to be in there.
The lady and her son live in the town where they're filming certain bits of Indiana Jones, and Harrison Ford just happened to walk past, and the little kid apparently said, "Oh, are you Indiana Jones?" And apparently Harrison Ford said, no, I'm his stunt double. But they knew it was him. It was all just a ruse.
Right.
A
Yeah, but-
ruse.
I mean, see, like if you say the Lord of the Rings now, though, that's 4 movies or 5 movies now, right?
Yeah. Perhaps
yeah.
perhaps trilogy might be a little bit constricting as a term.
But what other
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings ones did they do?
The Hobbit.
Yeah, but they did like a Hobbit trilogy and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Those are 2 separate.
2 separate trilogies. That's a good
They're
point.
separate.
Well, no, because wasn't The Hobbit just 2 movies?
No, Hobbit's got 3.
The Hobbit was 3?
Because didn't
that
it
was
end
just the
in the
2-part.
desolation of Smaug? That was the last one, wasn't it?
I just watched them not very long ago.
No,
And I was surprised because I
Unexpected
didn't even
Journey,
know.
Desolation of Smog was 2, and then The Hobbit was the last one? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, right.
I thought it was just 2.
What are the Trinity movies, BJ?
Oh, the Matrix. The Matrix movies?
No,
You
I
remember
thought
the
someone-
Matrix? The Matrix with Neo and all that?
Yeah. Is Trinity the character got her own movies?
Well, there's the Blade trilogy. What about the Trinity movies? I don't know. I think, yeah, there's like 6 Iron Man movies or something. I forget now. It's like Iron Man.
It's hard to, I guess, categorize those into trilogies when they all weave in and amongst each other, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're called.
Oh yeah, the Matrix. I got that one.
Journey.
I know
Just
BJ
so
Palmer's telling me to look at the
more-
dang chat, but you guys just kept saying
And the
Sister
Hobbit.
Sarah, the mule
And
for
the
Sister
Battle of
Sarah,
the Five
but it's 2
Armies.
mules for Sister Sarah. So if I had looked at the chat, it still would be bothering the crap out of me because no one got it right in the chat.
Maybe it was named different things in different places. We get
It's
that a
possible.
lot.
It's definitely possible. Oh, the Dark Knight trilogy. Oh, I hadn't thought about that one. Because there's
Yeah,
19
they were-
Batman movies.
They were pretty good as far as Batman movies went, weren't they? Enjoyed them.
John Wick. Is there 3 John Wicks now?
There is.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't seen the third one, but I've seen the first 2, and they were good fun romps, weren't they?
Mm-hmm. Now, if I recall, the third one really leans into it. If that's correct, I think.
Yeah,
recall.
well, I think if you're going to make the same type of movie 3 times over, by the time you get to the last one, you're really going to want to go to town, isn't it?
Yeah, you might as well.
If the viewers are lapping it up, go to town.
That's a good one. The Mummy. I had forgotten of the Mummy. How big Brendan Fraser was.
Yeah, it's surprising that he didn't ruin those movies too much.
He's weird now. I think he was a little more pliable when he was young, you know.
Yeah, no
That he
doubt.
was just like, oh, let me just do the part. Okay.
Yeah,
Now he's got money. Now, see, you know what? That's a good example of like when FU money goes the wrong way, you know?
Yeah, what about the Rambos, you know? What a great trilogy those 5 movies were, or
God.
4. 5.
The
I think there
Rambos,
was
I'd
5,
forgotten.
wasn't there?
The Godfather. I hadn't thought about The Godfather.
Mm.
Toy Story.
Well, there's 4 of them. Doesn't count. That's why I can't say Star Wars, because there's 9 of them. No, there's actually 11 if you count all the films.
Oh my God, The Terminator.
Oh, of course. There's like 5 or 6 of them, isn't there?
Yeah, but I think 1, 2, and 3 are only, like, makes sense in the storyline. I think, right?
Natural Aquarium says, to be fair, the second mule is only a donkey.
True.
Oh, Jaws, yeah, but that third one was terrible, wasn't it? They released
Oh
it
my
in
God.
3D when 3D glasses became a
I
thing.
hadn't thought of either of these. The Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go okay.
Spider-Man.
Oh, it's Fish Tropic coming through with a genre that we've completely ignored. Pornography. Well done, Tropico.
The Bourne trilogy. The Jason Bourne trilogy.
You know, I don't even think I've seen one of those.
They're not that bad. I think you would. I
No.
think you would probably enjoy them.
Well, I certainly don't mind Matt Damon as an actor. I'll watch his stuff. I just, for some reason, have not watched those guys.
They're pretty good. I think that'd be a fun watch, considering you haven't seen them. It would be fun for you to watch all three. And it's weird to think that they came out in 2002, 2004, and 2007. That's crazy.
Good
Crazy to
spacing.
think that they came out that long ago.
G'day, Stephen P. MMIII.
Captain America.
Did he get 3 of his own movies?
Yeah.
American Pie. No one would remember those movies if it wasn't for Bandcamp jokes and apple pie shenanigans.
You know what? This'll piss people off. I don't really like The Godfather.
Nor do I.
I didn't enjoy him. And that part when what's this dude gets shot in the face just still bothers me to this day.
I think
It bothers me that you really needed to put that in there in that way. I don't know.
I think I had heard, you know, so much big talk about how classic the original Godfather was that people were, you know, selling it massive. And then by the time I got around to seeing it, it was like, just another mobster movie. Just it never really sunk well for me.
Ooh, the Living Dead trilogy. Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and Day of the Dead.
And the Evil Deads.
The Evil Dead. Evil Dead, Army of Darkness. Yeah, but Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2 are essentially the same movie.
Yeah, it's been so long since I've seen them.
But I will say that the new TV show is hilarious. You should definitely watch that.
The Witch?
It's Ash versus the Evil Dead. It's a TV show.
Yeah.
On
I've seen a couple of
Showtime
episodes.
It's great. I think this is a riot. It's got what's her name? Xena the Warrior Princess in it.
Mm. Yes, Lucy Lawless.
Yep.
She's probably Joel G's cousin. I think most New Zealanders are related to each other.
Yeah, probably. Oh, Ace Ventura.
Was there 3 of them? There was only 2 of them.
There's apparently Ace Ventura Jr.
Ah, crikey. They're clutching at straws there.
Never seen that one.
Yeah, I've got to watch that What We Do in the Shadows TV show as well. That gets some pretty good raps, doesn't it?
What We Do in the Shadows. I don't think I've seen that. I haven't seen that, I don't think.
It was a movie first. It's about vampires, and it was New Zealand. Actually, it was Taika Waititi. Wasn't he in it? And he's responsible for writing it with Jermaine.
Oh, that's right.
Flight of the Conchords.
Right. Yeah.
Why am I'm failing on Jermaine's last name.
Clement, Flight of the Conchords, Jermaine. Yeah.
Clement. Yeah, I've only seen the movie as well, Stephen P. But heaps of people are recommending the TV show as well. I think it's the same characters, just different actors.
Oh my God, I haven't thought about this. The Alien Trilogy.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that
Oh,
might have to be right up there.
yeah,
Right up
that's
there with the Terminators.
Uh-oh, Die Hard.
Yeah.
I had thought there's the Die Hard trilogy. Scream.
Yeah. The first one was good, thanks to Rose McGowan.
I think I saw the first Scream on Christmas in the theater.
Was it a Christmas release? Why not? Why not release a movie like that
Yeah,
at
why
the
not?
cheery time of year?
Yeah. Yeah, we got the Terminator. Oh my God. How could we have forgotten this one? How could we have forgotten this one? How so important. Such important trilogy to
Say your own JRB.
to me, to you, to everyone, to the world. Mad Max.
Ah, of course.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So good.
Yeah, that's right up there as well.
I mean, if you've never watched the whole Mad Max trilogy, I highly recommend it. That will the new Mad Max movie is trash. It's garbage.
You going?
Oh, Silence of the Lambs. I hadn't even thought of that.
I'm just going to sit
Um,
for another, couple of hours before I go home anyway. So yeah.
Clerks is a trilogy, I guess. Mission Impossible,
Clerks.
I guess.
More Rats. Clerks
Weird.
2. Chasing Amy. That
Yeah,
weren't
it's
they all
number
the same
3.
characters?
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot more trilogies than I was even thinking of. That's some.
Well, it's like when someone
Surprise.
asks what your favorite movie is, you generally forget your 20 most favorite movies and then just settle for something less.
Yeah.
Hello, Backwards Heaven. Long time no see. How are ya? Oh, look out. Sarah's just ditching me. I might just go and see if I can catch her before she backs out the driveway.
Oh, is she leaving?
Go on.
Uh-oh. We ran off the scunge. She left. Ooh, the Karate Kid. I guess, is the Karate Kid a trilogy? This is like 1 and 2, right? Yeah, Captain America, Thor, Hellboy, 1 and 2. Yeah. Yep. Agreed. Is there a Rush Hour 3? Rush Hour. Oh my God, there's a Rush Hour 3. I don't think I've ever seen Rush Hour 3. I wonder how bad it is. Maybe I have. I think I watched that on an airplane. That feels like a movie I watched while flying. Karate Kid is a trilogy. Is it really? I'm trying to think. Karate Kid movies. Yeah, the Karate Kid Part 2, and the Karate Kid Part 3. And then the Karate Kid Part 4, and then the Karate Kid Part 5. Weird. I don't know. Man. I feel like I've seen Karate Kid Part 2. But I don't know if I've ever seen the Karate Kid Part 3. I don't know. I was never really... I mean, I know that I watched the Karate Kid when I was a kid for sure, but I don't remember like 2 and 3. Oh, okay. Only the third Thor movie is any good. I would say that like the Thor movies are pretty good. They don't really connect together very well. Like they're all like very, very different movies, but I am excited for what is it, she Thor or whatever? Like, what's the female Thor? Because Natalie Portman as Thor. What is this? What's this tentatively called? Because what's the character for the she Thor, the female Thor? Either way, Natalie Portman. Natalie Portman is intensely attractive as far as I'm concerned, and a pretty good actor. And I think she is. I'm pretty sure she has like a degree from Harvard, so I'm pretty sure I generally. She seems like a pretty well-rounded human being. I think she's a pretty good choice for female Thor. What is it? She Thor? What is it?
I have no idea what she's called. Did she bulk up? Did she have biceps and stuff?
She's apparently looking. People are exclaiming that she's looking jacked for Thor. So yes, apparently she was working out quite a bit.
And did we see all the pictures that got around of Hemsworth with his big, massive arms looking ridiculous? And then he's going on to do a Hulk Hogan biopic or something, or biopic, however you want to say it.
Is he doing Hulk Hogan?
I believe so. Just what I've heard.
He's going to have to figure out how to do an accent.
And how to go like this.
I think he could do that. I think he could already do that.
Lucky he's not playing Ric Flair, because I don't think he could go, woo! I can barely do it.
True. I don't even think I could do it. I might be able to do it. Who knows? I don't know. The Thor movies took like a really good campy twist as far as I'm concerned. Like, it started out being far too serious, I think. Yeah, I think there was like the first one was like kind of fun, or was kind of, actually it was kind of serious, right? Because they were like on Earth, and then there was a bunch of weirdness, and then blah blah blah, and then they went, and then Thor 2, they were like off in the dark world or whatever, and they had to like all that stuff.
I think the only Thor one I've seen all the way through is Ragnarok. What was that? The third or the fourth one?
I think that's the third, right?
Yeah,
because I think the Dark World was number 2. Well, let me look this up. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Thor 1 was just Thor. Thor 2 was the Dark World. Thor 3 was Ragnarok, which it started taking that real campy twist because Taika Waititi directed it.
And started having a bit of fun with it.
Yeah, where it really took the they kind of took the twist that kind of follows the Guardians of the Galaxy style, and which I 100% agreed with. It was like a really good way to turn away from the like wildly serious themes and stuff, which I think was a smart move. And now this next one is I forget what it is. It's like is it she Thor or whatever? Like, I don't know. It's the female Thor. Basically, his doctor girlfriend, Jane Foster from the first movie, she ends up taking up and becoming the female Thor.
It'll be interesting to find out how that occurs.
It happens in it happens in the comic books and everything.
How does a mere mortal become a god?
With Mjolnir or whatever, if you can pick up the hammer.
Yeah, and she just happened to be able to do that.
What's that?
And she just happened to be able to do that.
Yes. Because she's like, if you're pure of heart, you can use Mjolnir or whatever, and then you can channel the power from Asgard and whatnot. I don't know.
Yeah, they
I don't know how
filmed
they're going to do it because it hasn't come out yet. It doesn't come out till next year, so we have to wait.
Yeah, it seems like it wasn't that long ago that they just wrapped it because they filmed most of it down in Sydney.
Yeah. Well, it's directed by Taika Waititi, so I think it's going to be probably pretty good. I would think.
Yes, he seems to have the knack of touching things and turning them to goodness.
Doing a pretty good job. Oh, it looks like Chris Pratt's in this one.
Oh,
So
yeah,
there must be an appearance. There must be an appearance with the Guardians of the Galaxy because Chris Pratt is in it. Dave Bautista, yep, Sean Gunn. So yeah, all the Guardians make an appearance. Christian Bale apparently plays somebody in it.
What was the one that Tropico was just mentioning? Chaos Walking. Not heard of that, Tropico. And is that the one that you're suggesting, mushrooms, clearing your week and watching them all in order, or something else? Because surely you don't need mushrooms to watch Thor movies. They're zany enough. And yeah, that's Stephen's raised a pretty good point too, that they're light-hearted and fun ways that Marvel seem to go about their stuff. Certainly makes them more palatable for the general broader audience.
Well, they just intertwined all of the. This is what I was talking about earlier. Like Marvel did a big picture, right? They've done the big picture so much better than has been done really by anybody else in the past, of like intertwining all of the movies. It's like having the Guardians of the Galaxy show up in Endgame, right? Like, it's like having their characters interact from other movies, like Doctor Strange. Like all the characters show up in the other movies as something that exists. I really would like to see more Captain Marvel.
Padme Returns, the newest Thor movie. Nice one, BJ. And I just read, yes, BJ's going as well. See you soon, BJ. Thanks for hanging out. Pardon me. Yeah, I saw that. How many Doctor Strange movies are there? There's just one so far, isn't there? I saw that. That was quite good. Or is there two of them?
What's that?
The Doctor Strange. Is there only one of them out and another one coming?
I think there's already two, I think, right?
Yeah. I think I've only seen one of them. But yeah, quite enjoyed that. Another strange angle they took. It's kind of refreshing that the Marvel Universe just doesn't have superheroes. They've got gods and magicians and wizards and all sorts of zany crap going on. Oh, there we go. S says one's out. Second one's coming. I'm assuming Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, I assume.
I thought there was two.
Or maybe he's referring to Captain Marvel. Crikey, this chat's just streaming by. I'm missing everything.
Oh, is there only one? Is there only one Doctor Strange? I thought there was two.
See you, BJ. Be good. Yeah, I don't know. I've only seen one of them. Yeah, S is saying Doctor Strange. One out, second one's coming. And Tropico says, Corvus, did you see the anime with Marvel zombies in it?
Oh, that's right. Doctor Strange is just in a bunch of other movies.
Yeah.
So he's in Doctor Strange, he's in Thor Ragnarok, he's in Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Whew.
And that last one was his own movie, wasn't it? But he got that well after he'd made many appearances in the other films.
That's the next one coming out.
Right.
Is the Multiverse of Madness. Next
What
year.
was the first one called? Just Doctor Strange, was it?
Yeah. So that's what it is. He just showed up in a whole bunch of other stuff. What was somebody asking me? What happened?
Did you see the anime with Marvel zombies in it?
Anime with Marvel zombies in it? I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah.
Yes, you're
I don't
right,
think so.
Alyssa. He was quite heavily featured in Endgame.
I mean, let's
War.
be brutally honest here. When Natalie Portman hit the scene, when did Natalie Portman hit the scene? Because that was like the Star Wars.
No, wasn't she? Her first role was as a 12-year-old in that Assassin movie. Yeah, that's a fantastic movie. It was great.
Yeah. She's this. I think she's the same age as me, right?
I
think she's like 40. Yeah, she's 40.
Banging.
So I think, yeah, because I know that she was in that Assassin movie, and I remember that from when I was a kid. And then when she, because when was the first prequel? The first prequel movie was like
99, I think, or 2000.
Yeah, The Professional was that movie, and then Heat. Yeah, and then she was in Heat, and then Mars Attacks. And 99 was The Phantom Menace. And I remember, like, when The Phantom Menace came out, it was like, oh my god, because I think I was like 19 or 20. It was like, oh my god, that's like she's super whoa. So but
she always
following the career,
What was the ballet one that she had the terrible makeup? Was it the Black Swan?
Black Swan. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that her face makeup on the poster for that movie always scared me. She looked frightening in it.
Yes.
So I never watched it. Might not really be in my wheelhouse, that movie, anyway.
No?
I don't know even know what it's about apart from ballet.
It's a good film. I would recommend watching it. It's pretty intense. It's a psychological weird out. Like it's pretty good.
Yeah, right. That would back up the movie poster then with the frightful makeup, because that's a psychological thriller on its own. Just looking at that picture.
Yeah, that'll mess you up. It'll mess up your day. Oh my god, I got to go to bed. I got to get up early.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking we might as well just call it, because I'm starting to yawn more than ever.
Yeah, I'm yawning. I'm gonna fall asleep on the microphone.
I've probably played the video games Tropico, but I don't think I saw the movies, if that's what you're referring to. Double Dragon was like a precursor to Mortal Kombat or something, wasn't it?
I mean, I remember playing the video game,
All right, let's wrap this up in a bundle, spank it on the bottom, and call it quits for this week. As usual, thanks, dude.
Yeah, man.
This
is my social time.
Well, I feel blessed to be involved in it, as I'm sure everyone who's hung out for this long has and does, and whatever else words.
Yeah, don't forget to hit the dislike button.
Oh yeah, we likes those dislikes.
Dislikes on the way out.
We likes juxtapositionings.
Yeah, push a button, leave a comment, right?
YouTube all that stuff.
Style.
Subscribe, share it with your grandma, so I get my extra subscribers for the week.
That's right.
Rapidly approaching 1,000. By rapidly, I mean at a snail's pace. Don't forget, I can't remember what time it's going to be, but check out Aquamate's dire sounding video. Hundreds of fish lost in his fish room. Sounds full on. Premiere coming up soon. If you're all going to be awake, check it out. Tell him Corvus sent you or something like that.
Sure.
And anyway, till next week, y'all. We'll see yous when we're looking at yous. Thanks again. Bye for now.